One. Hello, everyone. I'm Catherine Biroy, your personal growth and business coach, and I have one mission to help you do what you love and make your dream business flourish. That's why I'm inviting experts to discuss certain topics with me. And I am very honored to have with me today Jarmila Zářická. Jarmila recently decided to leave a leadership role in the corporate world to start her own business. Today, she is a founder, owner, and CEO of Emerald Jazz, a purposeful lifestyle brand and platform offering services, products, and information, and celebrating authentic people. All of the elements comprising Emerald Jazz are linked by the guiding philosophy. We choose to live our lives with intention, audacity, and in full harmony with our own unique personal essence. That's also Jarmila's own personal philosophy. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you with me today.
Thank you, Catherine. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. Would you like to share a little bit more about your story with us?
Yeah, sure. So to start from the beginning, I guess that makes sense. I was born in Prague during the communist regime and in former Czechoslovakia. And when I was 7 years old, my parents decided to leave for political reasons. So they escaped. And our family was granted political asylum by the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. And we left to Australia. So that was a brand new life. And as you can imagine, there was a lot to learn, a lot of adaptation, mentality, but also the political environment, the climate. Just everything was very, very different. So I grew up until 7 years old in Czechoslovakia, and then from 8 in Australia. So the Australian way of bringing people up is very, I would say, very action-oriented. Mm-hmm. So it's all about achieving, it's a lot about sports. So that was the environment I was in. My parents are engineers, so it was very pragmatic, very rational also. Mm-hmm. So I did high school until the age of 17. And I just decided I wanted to get to know the world. So I left to go back to Prague. In the meantime, the Iron Curtain fell down, and I was very curious to be in Prague in the time of euphoria in the early 90s, where everything was opening up, everything was possible, there was a lot of hope. So I studied in Prague, languages and a little bit of economics. After a few years, I've had enough. It was interesting, but I wanted to discover the world a little bit more. So I went to Paris to study. This was mainly political science, communications, international relations. Yes. Very nice. Yeah, I did that very well. Actually, I've spent, in the end, I wanted to be in Paris, I thought, for 2-3 years. And I ended up being there for 12 years altogether. So yeah, very interesting time. So I studied, and then I got a job in the corporate world in communications. So it was a very, very great memories, a lot of learning, a lot of discovery, a lot of fun. I spent a few years in Brussels also, lobbying, mainly for the automobile sector. Mm-hmm. So something also very technical and very industrial. That was basically most of my corporate experience was in the industry. And then I took some time off to travel and to write. Then I went back to Paris. I got another corporate job. And then another one, basically leading communications for a chemicals company, for a multinational company. where I started off in Paris, and then I moved to Frankfurt. So that's where I am now. So my journey, why I said that is because about halfway through the corporate world or corporate life, I was opening up to my spirituality. I had this spiritual awakening. Although I loved the communications work, it's very interesting, I enjoy that. But the environment I was in, and this was something that was recurring in my various jobs that I had, was very, very rational, very performance-oriented, which of course is important. But I felt that there's just something lacking, and I began to be very curious, and I started to study a lot, just everything that has to do with psychology, spirituality. I tried various methods, kinesiology, working with energies, the journey transformational method, art therapy. I did a lot of reading, worked with various mentors and coaches, and that really opened up a completely new sphere for me. And that is also the reason why I wanted to start to write a book. This was 10 years ago, and I just needed to express that. I needed to have this outlet while working in my day job to be more in touch with that spirituality and to express it through a story. It's fiction, but it's obviously based on my experiences. So that was about 2 years ago, and I left the corporate world and decided to launch my own business, which is Emerald Jazz.
I love your story. It's so, you know, that it's so much in alignment with my own story, since I was born in communistic Yugoslavia, and I'm very well aware how that is. And the journey is very much similar. And now we, both of us as businesswomen, we can say, at least I can firmly stand behind that spiritual awakening completely changed my life. And tapping into that energy of completely unknown. And maybe you're not familiar, but I finished the Academy of Human Universal Energy too. And that completely changed my perception about life and everything. And I couldn't be more happier for starting my own business too. So
I can imagine, yes.
I am like, you know, like a butterfly happy now. So, and I really adore your story, and I wanted everyone else to hear that and to get inspired to step up and to start their own thing. So are there any regrets about starting your own business?
No.
No?
No, but you know, it's not easy, of course, but no regrets at all. I mean, I work a lot harder than I used to, and I did work very hard, very long days, most weekends when I was in the corporate world. It's tough. You have to deal with everything basically, especially in the beginning. It can be overwhelming sometimes. But no regrets at all. My objective is to attain personal freedom, live my life on my own terms, and that's priceless.
Absolutely.
So no regrets.
Absolutely, that's something that we also share. So was it something specific when you decide to create your own business, or was it like the result of the journey you mentioned?
I would say it was a mixture of two things. It was mostly the result of the journey, where actually at different stages I had ideas. I was toying with different ideas, different business ideas, but they weren't ripe yet, and I wasn't probably mature enough, or I just wasn't ready. It wasn't the right time for me, but I had that in the back of my mind for a few years already. And so, you know, that was always, as I was going along in my corporate journey, I always had that in the back of my mind. And I said to myself, okay, one day, you know, I will do this. So the second part was in my former job, there were a lot of changes, and I thought, okay, this is a sign. This is really a sign. Just go for it. Just go for it, and you'll figure it out.
I know the feeling.
I said to myself, if I don't do it now, I'm going to be there for 1, 2, 3 more years, and then I'll be saying the same thing. So just get going.
Kudos.
So that's what I decided to do. And one does figure the things out along the way.
Wonderful. So tell us a little bit about your magic that you create, about your services and your book.
Mm-hmm. So the services are threefold. So mentoring and coaching, based on my 20 years experience in personal development. That's really, I would say for me, an obsession. So I help people mainly to unlock their potential, in a sense, get rid of blockages. So create healthy boundaries, but in order to create healthy boundaries, you need to, first of all, just get rid of all of the layers that have piled up, all of those limiting, unnecessary, destructive layers linked to conditioning, linked to, the mindset, trying to be, the good girl, the good boy, pleasing people. This is all, from trying to basically be loved, because this comes from childhood. We want to have attention. We want to be. We want love. Therefore, we try to please. And this as children, and this is a residue that carries over in the adult life. And we need to get rid of that. We need to step into our own purpose and be ourselves. And in order to be ourselves, we have to. I would say the hardest thing is to just peel off all those layers. That's the toughest thing. And then once you get to your core, then you can start to build on that, and that's where you construct the healthy boundaries. So you can, you can live your life professionally, personally. You have your power, you're in your power. So it's mainly to younger women. Actually, my clients are mainly younger women who are more or less starting out in their careers, or have a few years into their careers, who have this sense that there is something there's something inside them that they want to awaken, but they're not sure yet, or they don't have that, let's say, the tools or the courage. Then we have different methods to help them. And also another part of my clients are women who are a little bit older, who are leaving the corporate world or would like to leave the corporate world, and they have to completely change their mindset, and I help them with that journey. Plus, there's a lot of things like social media, living in the just in the gig economy. It's a completely different way to function. So I help also women who are like in their 40s or 50s with this transformation, but not only. These are just currently my main clients. So that's mentoring and coaching. So mentoring is just providing guidance, answering questions when needed. Coaching is more structured. And I also offer communication services. So basically what I used to do in my 17 years career, I really enjoy. I intervene as an external contractor for various projects, missions. It can be basically digital transformation. I work a lot with change management, so international multicultural acquisitions, so things like that, basically building on my experience that I had in my former life. And so they're the services, the products, so that all of that is on the Emerald Jazz website. And the products is the small fashion collection that I created, and my book, and then information. So information like articles, experience sharing, and interviews of authentically audacious people.
I like what you say, the previous life. I say the same. And also, I believe that mindset is a key, and personal development, personal growth comes first, because we need to tap into our own purpose and understand how powerful we really are before going out there. And it really helped me, and removing all the layers and blocks. And I perfectly align with everything that you say. And I always say to people, that's what you need to do first.
Yeah.
So you can develop business, you can use any kind of techniques of management or time organization, whatever, but mindset is the key. And that's why I always say, like, live from your heart and mind. It means tap into your own essence and be really who you are, because we're all afraid, right? But once we step out, that fear becomes just like a strength for us to proceed. And then the help from a coach like you is, I believe, necessary when we are not secure, and I highly recommend it. Okay, so your company tagline is purposeful lifestyle, and I already mentioned your philosophy. So how does it fit with your current products and services that you offer?
So we choose to live our lives with intention, audacity, and in full harmony with our own unique essence. So basically, there are a number of keywords. Choose. So basically, our lives is the way we live our lives is our decision. We are responsible. Intention, why we do things. Mm-hmm. So we don't just go with the flow. We don't run on the treadmill. We really, when we do something, we ask ourselves, why are we doing it? Does it make sense? Is it full of purpose for us? Mm-hmm. And in our own unique essence means who we are, basically be ourselves. So all of these services, as I mentioned, the mentoring, the coaching, the communication services, go along that philosophy. Mm-hmm. And I would say even the communication services, because I mean, okay, it's the corporate world. I intervene as an external contractor, but we need more humanity. We need more spirituality. There's a lot of strategy. There's a lot of performance. That's, of course, that's necessary. That's important. But we need the human aspect. We need the soft emotional intelligence. And with that, we have a lot of power. So that also goes very well with the philosophy. The products, well, I created the fashion collection because I was frustrated, basically. When I was, couldn't find the clothes that I wanted when I was back working in the corporate world. Because I needed to get up in the morning, very busy, put on something, and keep that outfit on the whole day, running errands, going to meetings. In the evening, you just change a few accessories, and then you go out for a cocktail. And I needed something that's comfortable, elegant, and it just I could travel with. I could put it in a suitcase. That's very versatile, that you can dress up, dress down. So that also goes in line with that philosophy. Yeah, and the book, of course, the contents of the book is completely about being true to yourself and getting out of your comfort zone, just finding yourself, and not necessarily being satisfied with the external way that people define success.
Thank you so much for bringing so much joy and beauty to this world. I'm so happy you mentioned especially emotional intelligence and spirituality as something that's very important. I met so many successful people, and they are anxious and stressed and struggle a lot. And I, in few situations, try to, put the spirituality and emotional intelligence on the table, but it didn't work. But when someone like you also tap into that and say those things, I believe we will spread the message and help people to evolve more. Tell us the name of your book.
It's called The Third Suitcase.
Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Now we will have some fun, okay? Now we're going to have some fun. My audience is used to it. I call it the expert fun. I will ask you questions and you have like 10 seconds or just a sentence to answer me, and you will hear the bell ring when it's out, okay? This way we will show up your expertise and have some fun together. Okay.
All right.
Okay, ready? Awesome.
Let's have some fun.
The first question is, what advice would you give to others who are starting their own venture?
I would say keep going. Don't give up. It's going to be tough. You're going to be overwhelmed. Just keep going and be consistent and believe. Have faith.
Perfect. The second question is, you have 17 years experience in communication. Name us 3 the most important things around it when it comes to already established businesses.
I would say authenticity. The companies need to show humanity and real stories. Not only how great they are with the performance, but also stories through people. There's a lot more emotional intelligence that needs to be conveyed. And I would say, yeah, let the people speak. Let the people, the employees, be ambassadors.
Wonderful, wonderful. I actually mentioned in one of previous interviews, my interview with one huge corporation, and they actually have a series of videos on YouTube where people employees are talking about company, and I sense that the message when an employee is happy and when she says something like that has the great value. So I believe this is very, very, very strong message that you are putting out there. Okay, so the third question, you also developed fashion collection from scratch, as you mentioned. So please share with us a few tips. What's the best way to start from a blank page?
Well, I guess you need to know basically what kind of products you would like. I started to work with a fashion designer in Paris, and together we designed the small collection. And then you need to make sure that you have all of the different steps. You need to find someone who would produce it. You need to obviously work out the different budgets and choose the fabrics and just make sure that it all comes together, which is a lot of coordination. There are many people, many contacts involved in the whole process. You need to, it's project management basically. So you need to be very organized and make sure that all of the different people work well together. The designer with the different fabric producers, with the actual producers of the garments, and then of course put them on the website, on the e-shop. So it's a lot of organization.
So it's basically not easy, but very beautiful, right?
Yeah, I mean, it has a lot of satisfaction to it, yes.
It has a lot of satisfaction. Okay, tell us how people can find you and how they can get in contact with you. So
Emerald Jazz has its website, which is emeraldjaaz.com. There are all of the elements comprising Emerald Jazz there, so that would be the easiest. I'm also on LinkedIn, that is my preferred platform. Also a little bit on Instagram and Twitter.
Wonderful. And do you have anything else to tell our audience?
I would just say, go for it. If you have an idea, an intuition, don't think too hard. Just follow it, and if you need some help, seek that help. But just take those steps. Even if they are small steps, and being consistent, all of the steps add up. But go for it. Don't just sit there and complain about your life. Really take that step. take that first step.
Thank you so much for being. Thank you so much for being my guest. I am absolutely honored, and you made my day, and I am sure you will make a lot more days from people who will listen to this interview. And I wish you a wonderful afternoon, and we will talk soon.
Thank you so much, Catherine. It was a real pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Bye.
Bye.